It's been over 12,700 days since the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour last raced at Oxford Plains Speedway in Maine. That was on June 23rd, 1991. We hope that streak ends here tonight here in Oxford, Maine. Kyle Rickey joined by Ben Dodge. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour set to go for their sixth stop of the 2026 season here this evening, the All States Material Group 150. But unfortunately, Ben, Mother Nature paid us a visit about 2 hours ago with some rain. It has since stopped. Track drying is underway.
It certainly has. We even had a beautiful rainbow over the backstretch of the Speedway as well. We're in for an incredible night of competition. There's so much history at this grand facility. Tom Mayberry, the gentleman who is the founder of the PASS organization, along with his son Mike Mayberry. This is a 150-lap event, and it's brought to us by All States Material Group, a family-owned and operated business with heavy and highway construction for over 65 years. They're based out of Massachusetts, but highly cover the state of Maine as well. That's part of the story. The big news is that earlier today, unfortunately, when the rains came, things drastically changed. And in the process of all of that changing, Kyle, we saw something that is going to add a new twist to all of this. What it simply is, there'll be no time trials today. There'll be no 2 laps. Everybody knows what their car did before the rain, but Kyle, do they know what's happening after the rain has come under the starting lineup based on that NASCAR rulebook?
There were 2 practice sessions held earlier this afternoon. John McKennedy led them both. Austin Beers and Paulie Hartwick were among the top 3 in both of those sessions. However, like Ben mentioned, qualifying washed out. Starting lineup set by the NASCAR rulebook, and that puts the current point leader and 2-time winner this season, Stephen Kopsick, on the pole. Austin Beers will start from the 2nd spot on row number 1. When we do go green here shortly, hopefully within the hour.
Certainly is. And of course, things are looking good and getting really fired up here at the racetrack. Of course, Bonza is backstage here and talking to the competitors. They're all very interested in what to expect. So many individuals have told us their thoughts on running this very unique racetrack. It's a giant circle, a circle of great competition. Let's go to Bonza Tufa.
Well, Ben, I'm standing here at the end of the scales as they check the cars before tonight's race as the track continues to dry, and you can see the high roller Andrew Moeller on the scales right now. First full season driving for Danny Watson, the 82 team. They've had a lot of excitement going into the season. It's the first full campaign for Andrew Moeller himself. First time here at Oxford Plains Speedway, and they might have a little work to do. They've been struggling with the car that has been loose on them throughout the practice sessions tonight, but Andrew's hoping that with a little more laps getting logged in, a little more experience getting around this small track, that they can get the car snugged up a bit for the feature itself. You mentioned the rain. The rain adds a little more unpredictability to what is a very unpredictable element in that many drivers like Andrew have not raced here at Oxford Plains Speedway. Now with the rubber being washed off, how's that going to change track conditions? We'll only find out when the green flag flies. You're looking at Anthony Nocella, somebody who has won here at Oxford Plains Speedway in a modified, and in other cars, he has a lot of laps here. It's his first start of the season in the modified tour, teaming up again with the 17 team, the Extreme Motorsports team, and they had a little bit of work to do. It's their first time driving on these tires. They're adapting to them, trying to learn how the car will act during the race. They feel like they're getting there, but they just need a little bit more, trying to find the balance, and that's the key tonight, getting a good balance on your race car. So Anthony Nocella looking for a little more success. He has one NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour win, trying to go for a second one. Anthony being checked over on the scales right now. He's getting talked to with his team, trying to go over the weight right now, making sure everything's good. We'll have a quick word with Anthony here. Anthony, before we get started, how's the car feeling for tonight's race?
It was so-so in practice. We're decent, I think, race-wise, but got to be better. First time on these tires, so definitely not 100% sure what we want, but at least we have laps at the track, so hoping the adjustments we made are a little better, especially coming from the back, and hopefully have a good run here and get up towards the front.
That's Anthony Nocella. He mentioned starting in the back because of rain wiping out qualifying. It will be starting by owner's points, and with this team making their first start of the season, Nocella will have a lot of work to do, but he's been fast around here, so they're pretty optimistic they can make some spots and make their way to the front.
Three-time Modified Series winner here at this racetrack, has also won in a midget here. You heard him reference a moment ago. He has a lot of laps here, and that is indeed the case. Will make his 80th tour start here this evening and looking for that first win since 2022 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. It's going to be a tough car to miss here later tonight. I would call that highlighter yellow for Anthony
and
Nocella.
Of course, it certainly is. There's his young son there also helping Dad with the push off of the car. Very interesting story on this particular race car. The woman that owns it is Michelle Davini. Her husband passed away. They were diehard modified people. The car was finished and ready to go. And, of course, the man behind the wheel, Anthony Nocella, was able to do a pretty impressive job in a couple of outings. He almost won at Monadnock and at Stafford. One of the open shows did the same type of a move to make the magic happen. This guy's got talent. He's, well, maybe considered by an underdog by some, but when it comes to open wheel racing, Kyle, he's not an underdog by any stretch of the imagination.
He is not at all, has won in about every division that he has competed in, and will be looking to win from the back of the field here tonight. We'll start from the 18th position when we go under the green flag. Let's go up toward the front bend. Stephen Kopsick, a driver that doesn't have any laps here until earlier today. In fact, I believe he told me earlier in the pits he had never seen the place before until today. Newtown, Connecticut native, point leader, puts him on the pole for the race with qualifying being rained out earlier this afternoon, and he has had a whale of a season thus far.
He certainly has, but the guy that was quickest, right off the truck, the first guy onto the racetrack and the quickest guy. He seemed to get quicker and consistent. Bonza, how does that guy feel? He's got more laps on this racetrack than anyone else. John McKennedy is a huge factor in today's event.
Well, let's ask John himself, who was really fast in practice today. It seems like people are believing that you're the favorite for tonight's race, but how do you feel yourself about the car after practice?
I feel pretty good. We had really good speed overall, and long run speed we were decent. You know, we changed tires a few times throughout the practices, and there was a little bit of differences in between the tires. So we did the best we could as far as scuffing our change tires, and hope everything just kind of works out as far as sizes and all that goes. But see what happens. It's been a good track for me in the past. Won here before, and super modified as well with some modified stuff back in the day. So see what happens tonight.
How much does all these extra laps you have on the track really help you compared to most people, or do you think it's kind of a wash in a way?
No, it definitely helps. This is a very unique track. It's very wide. It's there's not a lot of marks to really gauge where you're at. Where a lot of tracks you have markings where you kind of know when to lift and accelerate. Well, this is just a big open circle, extremely wide. So it's challenging, and the grip is wore. You know, the asphalt's wore out, so there's just no grip. So very easy to miss your mark, overdrive, and yeah, this is definitely a track smooth as fast and just trying to hit your marks.
Well, McKennedy's got a good starting position in the top 5, looking to get it done tonight and get his second NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour win in the last 3 races, Ben.
Sure has, and of course he is tough to beat at any racetrack, but especially this one, and that's been the big story so far. You know, Kyle, it is not only John McKennedy is going to be a huge factor in this one, but when we look at the starting lineup, Patrick Emmerling with the number 1 car is going to be starting alongside of him in that second row. Now, Emmerling's had a very tough season so far. We both would have to agree.
He has, not the season that we were expecting from Patrick Emmerling, although comes in 3rd in the championship standings off a top 5 effort last week at the Riverhead Raceway in New York. So look for Patrick to run well here. Has not led on the tour since way back on race number 2 at the Martinsville Speedway, where he ended up in the 6th position. So look for Patrick to have a nice evening, starting toward the front of the field, and track position is going to mean a lot. Relatively short race here tonight, just 150 laps.
Certainly is. And of course, remember Riverhead Raceway. That was the bull ring that we visited just 1 week ago. That particular racetrack Emmerling was good at, and he was kind of surprised at that in the end results. We'll see what will happen here as we are still in preparation, trying to get this racetrack dried up, and we are ready to get things fired up when it will happen. Other surprises include, of course, Tyler Ripkema. What a wild ride at Riverhead Raceway. You were there. Best describe it to our watchers and listeners on what happened there just 1 week ago.
Yeah, he got pinched in the outside wall on the back straightaway, got up and into the outside catch fence, destroyed that car. Ripkema back with us here tonight, and we'll start from the 7th position. We hope to hear from him and some of the other starters in tonight's race when we come back to Oxford Plains Speedway as track drying continues. Back in Oxford, Maine, Oxford Plains Speedway, the All-State Material Group 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour right now in a holding pattern as track drying continues after some afternoon rains dampened things here just a bit after the 2 practice sessions. Qualifying rained out, starting lineup set by the rule book. And let's hear from one of those drivers that we were talking about just a moment ago that had that wild ride last week at Riverhead Raceway on Long Island. Tyler Ripkema is with Bonds Atufa in the pit area.
Yeah, Tyler Ripkema trying to bounce back after a rough night at Riverhead last weekend, but we also kind of woke him up, so trying to get recharged for tonight's race. Different car for you guys this week compared to what you ran at Riverhead because that car was so tore up. How has it been so far today here at Oxford Plains?
Yeah, we've been all right. You know, I've never seen this track in person, so that's a big learning curve there as is. But we've been all right. We've been dialing it in a little bit better. Me becoming accustomed to the track, trying to see what other guys that have run here, running for a line, and how they're setting up these corners. It's definitely a very weird place. So, but we've been good. You know, my crew's been working really hard, trying to get the car where we want it, or I think I want it. Not a ton of cars here today, so like even if we are off a little bit, I think we're gonna have time to be able to stop, make adjustments, you know, and I believe we're gonna be all pitting for tires. So I mean, there's opportunity to make the car better throughout the race, and I believe we'll be good.
I feel like weird is a good way to describe this track according to a lot of people, but you were napping. How often do you have to recharge taking a nap before a race? Is that common for you?
No, it's not common for me. I'm feeling pretty under the weather here. Last night on the way out here, started feeling like crap. Woke up this morning really not feeling good. So, no, that's not usually normal for me. Usually I'm wide awake, ready to go, but I've always ran good when I'm sick, so we'll see how it goes. But definitely not feeling great, but the car's feeling pretty good.
There's something about race car drivers when they're not feeling well, they just dig deeper and find that extra gear. So we'll see if Tyler Ripkema can find that extra gear looking for his first win this season, guys.
You know, this guy's got so much talent. He's kind of went under the radar for most of the season. His big break was, of course, that impressive wild victory at NHIS. Today, different day and a different deal. You know, there's one name in the starting lineup that is a name that usually is found running up front in the competition. He's had success at this racetrack. He'll drive the Bar Harbor Bank number 60 car. And Kyle Rickey, the Northampton, Pennsylvania driver, Matt Hirschman, he has struggled. It is a fact in 2026, and I don't think anyone would be aware of that factor better than him, because this has not been his season so far.
Hard to believe he's just had one top 10 finish in the first 5 races, currently 11th in the championship standings. That top 10 effort was actually a top 5, a 5th place run at Thompson during icebreaker weekend, but since then, nothing but struggles. 20th at Seekonk Speedway, 17th last week at Riverhead. To start the season, a pair of 12th place runs at New Smyrna down in Florida and at the Martinsville Speedway. Has completed every lap thus far, so he's finished on the lead lap, but just not where we're used to seeing him, and that is toward the front of the field. He is a former winner here at Oxford in the Tri-Track Series back in 2019. So if there's anybody that can turn their season around potentially here tonight, could be that driver right there in the 60s.
Certainly is the one of the side stories, of course, and another driver. We've went from one of the veterans, we've talked to some of the up-and-comers, but this kid has really come into his own. He's from Galloway, New Jersey, and that's, of course, the driver of car number 73, and that is Paulie Hartwig III. 4 starts, and, of course, at the start of the season at New Smyrna, he wasn't even old enough to be able to participate in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Then, when he went to Martinsville for his first outing, rear-end problems was the story. An oil leak haunted him at the Thompson Speedway, and at Riverhead, well, he was very impressive, but he was only able to finish among the top 12. Third in Smart Modified point standings from last year. This is a kid that can get the job done, and youth sometimes adjusts easier to a racetrack like this. I think you'd agree.
Absolutely, and we'll look for Paulie Hartwig III to run toward the front of the field starting in 13th here. He'll be chasing along with everybody else. Stephen Kopsick, our pole sitter, 2-time race winner this season, championship point leader, and he's with Bonta in the pits.
Yeah, Stephen Kopsick coming in, first time racing at Oxford Plains Speedway, coming off a hard-earned top 10 at Riverhead last Saturday night. What does it say about you and the team after getting caught in a couple incidents to still salvage a top 10 with such a tough field?
It says a lot. I mean, that's obviously a tough place for us. It's a very technical racetrack, and like there's guys on the tour that have raced here for many years, and then on top of some regulars that race there weekly. So really, to come out of there in one piece is the goal going in, and I think we could have been banged up pretty good a few times there, and to come out in one piece is I would say obviously we wanted to finish better, and I think we had a little better car than where we finished, but we do have to get better there, and we just keep building our notebook for it.
And how about tonight for 150 laps?
I feel pretty good about my car, like long run speed. Just really didn't have a blazing fast time in practice, but it's driving good, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think there's more to be had in myself, just learning the way around this place. It's really tricky, and then there is adjustments to be made on the car. So hopefully we got it right, and see where we shake out here.
Now, you love working on the cars. You're circling around trying to work on it as much as you can, but with this rain delay, how do you occupy your time when we have this downtime?
Just looking over notes from previous events, that kind of are from tracks that are kind of similar, although there's really nothing that I think would be similar to this place. So, just going over our tires and talking about race strategy and watching the radar, and we'll see what we got here.
We don't have to watch the radar for much longer. We should be in the clear, but no matter how much time you have, if you're a guy like Stephen Kopsick who works on these cars, there's always something to do, guys.
Sure is, and that guy has been able to make leaps and bounds in his quest for the title for the 2026 season. His dad has been right by his side, Nick, each and every time wherever they show up, and he is considered one of the guys to watch in this event here this afternoon. Kyle, there's so many different other stories as well, but there's a family, we talked about it briefly, the Catalano family. They've claimed 10 hours to come to this racetrack, and they supported it in full force with 3 particular race cars and 3 talented drivers as a part of the same family. They're going to be good to watch. We've seen it in the past. We've seen the Catalanos. They seem to adjust well to the short tracks. Monadnock Speedway. One has been to victory lane there. They love the bull rings. They are very impressive. Speaking of impressive, we've got a youngster helping us doing some cleanup there. So that young lady, she's got a job for sure, and she's part of the Austin Beers crew.
Looks like a young Austin Beers fan sweeping out the water from the pit stall just behind them so they can roll those cars onto the racetrack here shortly and get this one underway. You mentioned the Catalanos a moment ago. There are 3 of them in the field here tonight. Tommy Catalano competing on the tour full-time this season. season, currently 6th in the championship standings, and he is a winner last year at the Monadnock Speedway. Trevor Catalano, also running full-time this season, the 19-year-old, also a race winner at the Monadnock Speedway back in 2024, currently 14th in the championship. Had some suspension issues at Thompson that really hindered his effort among the top 10 in points as of right now after 5 races. Tyler Catalano is with us here tonight as well, 22-year-old and just a 3-time starter here on the tour, and his most recent start was last year at Lancaster, finishing in 12th. Let's go back down to the pit area and hear from Austin Beers, our defending champion.
The guy who comes in with 35 consecutive top 10s, a NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour record, makes his debut here at Oxford Plains Speedway. Before we even go there, we were talking earlier today about how this season has been a grind for you guys. Hard-earned top 5s and top 10s. Just how tough has it been for you guys in your championship defense?
Yes, it's been pretty hard. We haven't really qualified where we needed to be, and passing's been pretty hard this year, and we just haven't been where we need to be in the race. And but we're working on it. Obviously, the crew's working really hard trying to get us where we need to be, and we're second today so far to McKennedy. He's been really fast, so it's kind of the McKennedy versus the field right now. But hopefully, when we get out there, we have something for him.
What more do you need out of your car today?
Just better ride quality. It's kind of bumpy on the straightaway, and just struggling with turn in, and then with the wheel in it, having drive off. So that's something hopefully we have in the race once the track kind of cools off now with the rain and everything like that. So we'll see what happens.
How about that young lady over there sweeping the waterway? Does she get Employee of the Month?
Yeah, she's doing something. I don't know if she's helping or hurting us, but hopefully we can get on the scales here and track's dry enough and we can get some laps in.
Thanks, Austin. Good luck tonight. That's Austin Beers trying to extend that streak of top 10s to 36. He's got a good starting position, second tonight at Oxford.
We'll be back with more of the great racing action from the historic Oxford Plains Speedway right after this for the Allstate Material Group 150.
The All-States Material Group 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour still in a holding pattern here tonight. Rain pushed through the area a couple of hours ago. The track dryers have been on the track for the last hour and change.
And it's working.
We're getting closer to the start here tonight.
We sure are. And the fans are come out in full force to be a part of this one, of course. A lot of money is on the line, $113,000 plus for 150 laps. That transmutes into 56.25 miles here at the Speedway. And as we said before, there's so much history that surrounds it. It has hosted 5 previous NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour events. Winners include, of course, the legendary Jeff Fuller, Richie Evans, Mr. Excitement, Jim Spencer, Mike McLaughlin. Spencer is the only multiple-time Modified Tour winner at Oxford Plains, and he did it with 2 victories to his credit, Kyle.
He did indeed, and that was nearly 30 years ago. Let's go back down to the pits and hear from the driver that is starting in the 16th position here tonight.
That's Ronnie Williams, Kyle, who has a little bit of experience here at Oxford Plains Speedway in a previous modified event. And you told me when you first came to this track, you enjoyed it. Here you are now. You don't make many NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour starts. Your first Modified Tour start here. How was the car in practice, and what do you have to do starting deep in the field?
Yeah, I think the car could have been better. But again, this is the first time here for a lot of these guys. I know it's the first time here for our team. It's the second time we've raced on these tires as well, so there's a lot of new elements going on that we're dealing with. But overall, it's 150 laps, so hopefully our car will stay consistent throughout the race. Some of these guys will fall off, and we'll be there at the end. I don't know if we have the winning car, but we'll try to make a show out of it.
You're a driver who loves to save a little bit early on so you have more at the end. How much do you think you have to conserve here?
That's a great question. I'm not sure. I'm going to try going hard a little bit. I know McKennedy was pretty quick, and I think he's starting up there. So the last thing we want to do is put ourselves in a position where we're a lap down. So if we can get up there a little bit, maybe hang around like that 10th position, it would be a good, comfortable zone for us. But, yeah, a lot of unknown variables coming in, obviously, with the rain. And then just also, let's see how this thing drives for 150.
Ronnie Williams brings up a really good point, guys. Even if you got a fast car starting deep in the field, you got to make progress quickly because the leaders will be coming behind you before you know it.
Second in the 2019 tri-track race here at the racetrack, so Ronnie Williams does have experience here at Oxford Plains. But like he mentioned, he's hoping his car will stay consistent and others that fall off in front of him, as he has a long way to the front here this evening.
Sure does. And Adam Scavora, the crew chief on that particular race car, the Empower Financial Advisory machine, they've been working hard. Les, one of the masterminds of this team as well, he's been fighting with cancer and he's in recovery at this point here today. So we're looking for big things out of him. There's a cause and a reason. The sun is starting to peek out here and it's looking brighter and nicer in every detail coming up as we are getting closer and closer to what's going to be taking place here this afternoon. We're going to move things around just a bit. We've received information from Gary Putnam and the NASCAR team. There's India, who does our victory lane with Bob Strongberg, and we are going to go back to the weekly divisions of competition for the remainder of a qualifying set, and then after that we're going to be back and we are going to set the field on the racetrack in a rolling start, and we're going to go green for this prestigious event.
I'm aiming for the top of the hour, about 7 o'clock Eastern time here at the Speedway for the start of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour All States Materials Group 150. Currently here at the racetrack, sun peeking out for the first time in a couple of hours here. However, it has cooled off about 61 degrees, and we're expecting for that temp to hold steady through the race. Could get down to as low as 58 here later this evening. Hopefully by the time we get to the 50s, we'll have wrapped up tonight's 150-lap event.
It certainly seems that way. And, of course, we came from the southern end of New England. When we left today, it was approaching 80 degrees. But by the time we drove into the parking lot here, it was at 64. Then the rains came after practice session. And then, of course, right now the sun is starting to come out, and there is the final group of preparation before we're ready to fire them back up and get going for this afternoon's event or this evening's event, however it quickly might occur. You know, when you look at the starting lineup, we talked with Anthony Nacella, told us a little bit about that. Ken Heggie, an independent runner, comes out of Calverton, not far from the Riverhead Raceway. He's been a big supporter of this series for a long time, Kyle, and very deserving. He made the trip, and he is a consistent guy, just looking to be among the top 10 cars.
More on him in a moment as we go back to the pits and hear from one of the Catalanos that we were talking about a moment ago. Currently, Tommy Catalano, 6th in the championship standings, and he's with Bonza in the pit area.
Yeah, Kyle, Tommy Catalano has kind of flown under the radar the last couple of weeks, but he does have back-to-back top 5 finishes. A tough night at Seekonk ended off well, and then you were really consistent at Riverhead from start to finish. What has changed for you guys to find better results here in the last couple of races?
Yeah, we've just been trying to get more consistent, leave the house closer, obviously, and be able to kind of put together whole days, and we've been getting much better at it. We're okay today. Obviously, this is a new place for us. Nice facility, and we were really good in the first round. Struggled just a little bit in the second round compared to where we were in the first round, but I think we got a good car that's hopefully going to last tonight, and we'll see. Hopefully, we can go 3 in a row with the top 5s.
So, how much bragging rights do the Catalanos get when one has the upper hand over the other two?
We get a little bit, but it's we try to work together and kind of get everybody to the same spot. This is the first time in probably 3 years that I've been in this position, this early in the season, compared to Trevor, as far as where we've been points wise and just running. We've kind of really struggled the past few seasons, and hopefully turn it around for good here, but I don't want to jinx it.
Of course, everyone's superstitious in racing, but how do you occupy your time during this rain delay? What do you do to entertain yourself?
Try and keep my socks dry. That's the first thing. We'd chit chat, hang out. Called home to the wife and little girl, and talked to them for a little bit, and just it was nice to see the sun come back out, and hopefully we can get this thing going, not too far behind schedule.
2 points from that last question. Family's important too. Nobody wants to walk with a wet sock, guys.
That is so true, and there's no question. Rick Kluth is the crew chief for that. Over 110 starts, Kyle. 1 win. It came at the Monadnock Speedway, which is just up ahead on the schedule. And then there's that consistent run after that.
He mentioned it a moment ago, back-to-back top 5s, and has been the big gainer in the championship standings the last couple of weeks. Has gained 6 positions over the last 2 races, a top 5 run, a 5th place run at the Seekonk Speedway, 4th at Riverhead, and looking to have a good run here tonight and keep that trend going as chit-chatting with Eric Goodale in the pit area. Eric, driver of that number 58 car, also pretty good on the bull rings of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And we'll start toward the front of the field outside of row number 3 when we get the green flag here shortly. Again, just under, aiming about 7 o'clock Eastern time when we start tonight's race, about an hour behind schedule due to the wet weather that came through the area a couple hours ago. Things have improved dramatically in the last just 20 minutes. The sun has popped out a couple of times. We had a rainbow off the end of the back straightaway just as we came on to air, and you get a good look at the Tundra track drying team. A couple of those Tundra Titans with us here tonight, and they are doing the job in pushing the water to the infield off the racing surface, and we can get this one underway here shortly.
Certainly can. And of course, we've talked about the veterans, but we haven't touched much upon the competitors that are contending for the Rookie of the Year honors. One of those competitors is from Danbury, Connecticut. That is Teddy Hodgson. Hodgson has 10 starts. His best is a 7th at Seekonk this past month. And of course, he finished 13th in points at New Smyrna. He's run well. Martinsville, Thompson, those are the bigger tracks. And at Seekonk Speedway, he's had a great run. Riverhead, not so good. This is his first time ever at this racetrack, and being here for the very first time is not an easy task. But this driver and his dad is up for it. His father is a professional airline pilot, for commercial airlines. We'll look out for that rookie driver with the number 05 car, starting back in the 10th position.
He's right there in the eye of the storm when we go green. A little further up, we saw him on screen just a moment ago. Riverhead, New York driver Eric Goodale, GAF Roofing the sponsor, and he is standing by with Bonza as we get ever so closer to going under the green flag.
Track drying continues to progress, Kyle, but I tell you what, it's fun watching Eric Goodale describe what driving a car is like. It's like exaggerated charades trying to show what the car is doing. What is with you drivers and that unique form of sign language that you guys can do?
It's just honestly, if you've driven these cars before, the feeling being in there. It feels like your butt is on the track, and just like it could wiggle just a little bit and you feel like it moved a foot. So it's just funny. I was talking to Tommy about, running multiple grooves here and how the car reacts, and just never being here before, you kind of need to feel all the different areas out there, and it was a wild 2 rounds of practice just trying to figure out where we needed to be.
What did you figure out so far?
For me, it was lower and slower and not overdriving the car. It was when I was the calmest, not driving really hard, it was our best laps. And anytime you tried to push the car for more or really manhandle it, the lap times kind of fell off, right in conjunction with that. So just low and slow.
Do you have any more pressure on yourself because your kids are going out and excelling in their sports?
Yes. I have my oldest with me here today, Mason. He's my harshest critic. They used to be my wife, but he has since taken the top seat since he started racing here, and he doesn't let me forget that he wins races and I'm mid. So,
well, you know what that means. You got to get it done.
Yeah, he's here tonight, so I'm hoping the 3.5 hours back to Providence tonight will be a little bit better if we have a good race.
Hopefully, for Eric's sake, it's a good night for them because he needs a peaceful ride home.
Been a while since he's got it done. Thompson, 2022, his most recent win here on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. One of the most fun interviews I have ever done in this business was with Eric on a Zoom call back when that was a really big thing about 5 years ago. He was at the Magic Kingdom in Orlando at Disney World on a ride doing a Zoom interview. It was fun. He's a big Disney guy, and obviously, during the summer months, a lot of attention on his kids racing, and obviously here with his racing on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And Eric will start in row 3 here in just a little bit. Again, aiming for a start right around 7 o'clock Eastern Time here this evening, about 24 or so minutes from now.
So work still continues on these cars as they prepare for this afternoon's event high above the treetops here at the Speedway. As you look, and you can see it is starting to clear and burn off ever so slightly. We are not far away from that start time for this evening's full presentation of the competition. As we've said before, we're abbreviating certain parts of all of this. Want to give a shout out to those good folks from Allstate Materials Group who are joining us here, sticking it out. They're in their 65th year in business, headquartered out of Massachusetts and a proud part of the great state of Maine as well. ASMG also provides asphalt paving and road maintenance services throughout the region, and we welcome them. Tom Mayberry and his son Mike Mayberry were not afraid to go the distance in this one, and that is key. Why do I say that is key, Kyle? Because most promoters will sometimes just look at the bottom line. That is not the case with the Mayberry family. They looked at, we've got something unique, a good product, the Whelen Modified Tour, and NASCAR has supported it, and now we're going to give the fans that do come out something that they can relate to and be proud of. This is not modified country. This is full-bodied country. You know that, Kyle. We've been here. We've been at other facilities. That imaginary line we've talked about, you and I, over the years, does exist. We're not sure where it is, but there are fans in the great state of Maine that love modifieds.
This race already been postponed once from a couple of weeks ago. Will run tonight, and they have committed to get this race to its completion here this evening. Back to the pits, and Bonza, we heard from Tommy Catalano a moment ago. How about his 19-year-old brother, Trevor, now standing by?
It's kind of hard to believe, Kyle, that in the blink of an eye, Trevor's in his 3rd year racing the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. I asked Tommy this earlier, but I want to ask you, there's 3 of you racing today. It's not the first time there's a lot of Catalanos in the race, but how much bragging rights is there to see which Catalano comes up on top?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of bragging rights. The first year, all 3 of us were running together, and it was a big thing of who could beat who every race. So everybody gets to brag for a couple weeks before we go to the next tour race, and if Tyler beats it, he gets to brag all winter because he's probably not doing another one. So definitely got to beat Tyler, and hopefully we can run up front and have a good run tonight.
First time here at Oxford Plains. What do you think about the track and the car?
Yeah, it's a neat track. Definitely different. Nothing like I've ever ran at. So it's definitely a learning curve. Trying to get the car a little better. We unloaded off the trailer pretty good. Just struggling to find a little speed, but I think we got a good long run car, so hopefully it goes green so we can get the long run and show our strength.
How hard do you think you have to go? You're starting a little bit deeper in the field compared to where you would look to start. So how do you approach the race knowing you have 150 laps, but that front of the field can come around to the back of the field quick?
Yeah, I think it's
not going to be able to ride much at all. You're just going to kind of have to push it and get what you can early. I think the leader's going to come quick, so definitely going to be trying to push hard, get as far as we can, and then hope for a caution around halfway, come in, take a couple tires, and hopefully be in the run for it.
Trevor Catalano does feel confident today. He's happy with the car at this point, looking for a good night tonight at Oxford Plains.
Competing his 37th career start here this evening, and as Ben mentioned a moment ago, a one-time winner at the Monadnock Speedway just a couple of years ago. But it's been tough going thus far for Trevor, just 14th in the championship standings, hindered a bit by some suspension issues at the Thompson Speedway, a 29th place finish on that afternoon, and has yet to crack the top 10 since a 9th place run at New Smyrna, 13th at Riverhead last week. So trying to turn his luck around here this evening. We'll see if Trevor can get to the front of the field.
Well, there's the tundra, and it is drying, and it's happening rather quickly, to be very honest with us. You know, we've talked to the competitors, and Bonza's still in search of a few more. But what is very unique about this racetrack, Kyle, is pit road. It doesn't have a normal pit road. Now, last week we were at Riverhead. That was a special and unique pit road, but this particular pit road is set up with a little different fashion and a little different style. Let's explain it to the folks at home watching on Flow.
Yeah, it's on the infield of the pit lane, just off of the front straightaway. Tonight, a 3-tire race, 2 per caution, modified live stops, and that means they're really going to slow the pace car down to about 25 miles per hour under the yellow flag. Pit road speed 20 miles per hour, but you will come off of the pit lane and restart how you came to pit road with the other drivers that went to the pit lane. The only way you can gain spots during a caution is to stay out on the racetrack. Let's go back down to the pit lane. We'll talk more about those pit stop procedures as we get closer to the green flag, but let's hear from another one of the rookies and one of the youngest, if not the youngest driver in the field, Bonza.
That's 15-year-old Paulie Hartwig III, getting ready for tonight's race. Really fast in practice. First time here. What have you learned so far with this track?
This is all about, making your car cut, and that's what we had in practice. The car cut really good, so, it sucks we don't have any qualifying, and I think we would have had really good speed, so we roll off 13th, and I got a really good, confident car, and it's going to see how it plays out. If we go green to checkered, we go green to checkered. If we get yellows, maybe we'll come in and get some tires, and it's going to be played out. So we're just going to, let's get in line and ride, and then just see what happens.
What have you learned about racing in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour so far?
That's a big step of journey, and it's a lot more harder, guys. And the tough luck we had the first 2 races, and it's all about consistency. And then we're going to try to run for the Rookie of the Year, and we got I think 11 more races, I think, and. It's going to be all consistency, and then we ended up 12th last week, and that was really good. So, it's going to be all about finishing today.
That 12th place finish was his best of the year up to this point. Paulie Hartwig showed a lot of speed today in practice, hoping that it translates tonight for 150 laps.
Well, that kid has definitely got a lot of talent. Family supports him 100%. The mom, the dad, and everybody is involved in all of this. And we said before, that kid, you're going to hear a lot about him in weeks, days, and races to come. There's no question about that. Well, you can see the amount of moisture that has been picked up and vacuumed on pit road as work still continues, and everybody is giving it their absolute all. Gentlemen, you're looking at on your screen right there is Gary Putnam. He is the guy who's in charge of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and he is an individual that has formerly been associated. He's owned modified race cars. Ryan Newman has driven them, had tremendous success in the early days of modified racing at Stafford and at New Hampshire, and it's just the beginning. He makes that transition. It's not easy, Kyle. You and I both know that. Everybody thinks it's so easy. You do one particular plan in racing, and they think you have to stick with it forever. That's not the case, and Gary Putnam is the poster child for just that.
Worked down south in Charlotte for a long time on the teams of Richard Petty and Bill Elliott many years ago. Volunteered on Charlie Pastriak's cars in the 1980s up here in the Northeast. That's pretty much what got him involved in motorsports. 34 starts as a driver here on the tour from 2014 to 2025, scoring a best finish of 9th at Stafford Motor Speedway in 2017 and at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in 2019. So we often talk about individuals that have kind of filled every role in the garage,
He's
becoming
one of
an
those
official.
Guys. Yes.
He knows this division and this tour inside and out, and that's why they've put him in that role here for 2026. He's been the driver, he's been the crew member, and now
he's done it all. And he is
in the organization.
Definitely a proud part of it. You're looking backstage, and you can see the preparation that is going on. People are double checking, and there's Bonza Tupa as the drivers are standing in some cases next to their car. Bonza, you've got another individual who's running for the rookie honors, and that's not easy in this very competitive tour.
Especially with the cast of rookies we have in the tour this season. That driver you're talking about is Teddy Hodgson, making his debut here at Oxford Plains Speedway. That's been a trend for you guys. New tracks, new adventures for y'all. How has that been so far in 2026?
Right, it's definitely been a hard learning curve for sure, going to a new track mostly every week. Like Riverhead, that was the first time I raced there. This is the first time I've seen the property today, so it's been a challenge trying to get up to speed with the experience of these guys on the tour. They're no slouches when it comes to picking up a track quick. So just trying to go through the motions. It's only raced 5 or 6 of the first full-time campaign on the tour. So just trying to learn as much as I can and get the rookie of the year.
What have you learned so far today about this track in the car?
Yeah, the track has been really slick. I know a lot of guys have been complaining about just hanging out the right rear and just trying to balance, get enough turn, but not slide the right rear out. So it's, especially with the rain and then the track drying and who knows what features are going out next, it's going to be a curveball for everyone. So hope you get your adjustments right and just send it.
Teddy Hodgson looking for another top 10. He got one not that long ago, looking for a second one this season in his rookie escapade in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour.
Currently 13th in the championship standings for Teddy Hodgson. He mentioned the practice earlier today. 2 practice sessions. There was a lot of slip sliding around out there. John McKennedy was the fastest in both of those practice sessions. Fastest lap, 15.286 seconds around this racetrack here this afternoon. A 3/8 mile big circle, I guess you could call it, Ben. A very unique racetrack.
It certainly is. There's not a single long straightaway, front or back stretch. Some racetracks, no 2 turns are the same. Here at this racetrack, it's just a giant circle. And we were watching some of the other divisions earlier, you and I, Kyle, and there is no magical way to get around. Some guys choose one lane up, some stay on the bottom, others will try to make the move to the outside. One thing we know is this racetrack, as you come down into turn number 1, there are 2 different bevels or angles. And those bevels and angles can either make you or break you here at Oxford Plains Speedway.
All right, let's go back down to the pit area and hear from another one of those rookies. We heard from Teddy Hodgson a moment ago. Bonza's with Michael Christopher Jr., fresh off a pretty solid run in an SK Modified just less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah, he finished second in that race last night, looking for some more luck in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. It's your first time here at Oxford Plains Speedway. What is your impression of this little racetrack?
It seems fun. I mean, going out there the first time, there's rubber all over the racetrack, bottom groove, top groove, and the dirt groove all the way up top. So I don't know if we'll go out there, but it seems like it would be good with a good car. We've been struggling with this thing today, and made wholesale changes pretty much all day. So I was looking forward to qualifying. Use it kind of as like a 2-lap practice, if you will. But we need some speed here in the old 31. But we're gonna keep working on it. Keep the faith up. And 150 laps. We got 3 stickers waiting in the pits. So if it's not good, I'm coming to them.
Well, you were talking with Chris Buffoni, who spots for you during the season and helps you out on the pit road, and he's raced here a few times. Did he give you a couple pointers at all?
No, he just said that he doesn't really like it too much. Us growing up racing Stafford and Thompson, I love racing modifieds at tracks where you get to the center of the corner and you just stuff the throttle as hard as you can. And to be honest, these tracks are newer to me, so I'm learning them, I guess you could say. But I'll have 150 laps to figure it out, and can't wait till we get back to Thompson.
Mike Christopher Jr. trying to log some laps and gain some reps here at Oxford Plains Speedway. A common thread we've heard in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour today at a track many people have not been to.
First full tour season, not officially a rookie, as he has had several starts before this year. 1 win at Jennerstown Speedway back in 2022 for Michael Christopher Jr., who we talked earlier today and last night at Stafford. They had made a lot of changes to that car and to that team after a little rough go of it here recently. 19th last week at Riverhead. Seekonk a couple of weeks ago, 16th place effort. 15th at Martinsville. He mentioned the bright spot at Thompson, finishing in third. So we'll see if those changes that were made midweek will pay off for Michael here this evening.
No question. And he talked about how the difference is visiting racetracks for the very first time. What you're looking at, well, the War Wagons are coming out, the USN E-Power, the Energizer, one team, are coming out as they're starting to prepare and set up on pit road. We talked to you about in just a moment, you're going to be taking a look at a wide shot of what pit road is like. Now, there are 22, I believe, spots on pit road on the front straightaway. Obviously, in our situation here, we will not be using all 22. So they've taken a couple off each end in order to make this all match up. And there you can see it. Most pit roads, Kyle, we've been to a lot of racetracks, they are straight, easy. You come off the turn, usually bottom of turn number 3 to 4 and down, and then you exit and go right back around off turn number 2. That is the case here, but there is a whole different pattern of the angles that you must go to get on and off this racetrack. It's not an easy task, especially if you've never been here before.
Kind of a bit of a double dog leg. You see a narrow entry there off of turn number 4, and then going into turn number 1, a little bit of a bend on pit road as they re-enter the racetrack. Again, there will be no gaining of spots on the pit lane tonight. Modified live stops. You will restart the way you come into the pit lane if you can keep your car on the lead lap, and the pit crews that will be making those stops are making their way onto the racetrack right now. So a good sign there as the pit area begins to empty out and all those crew members head toward the infield and their pit stalls that we were just talking about a moment ago.
That's right, and those pit stalls have been assigned by NASCAR, making sure that they will be in the correct and ideal position. There is the McKennedy race team, car number 79. You'll note that they have a NASCAR official with each one of these teams coming out to make sure that things are to the letter of the law, as they say, as people are starting to file back into the grandstand area here at the Speedway. You know, pit road is where you can gain the most positions usually, but as Kyle pointed out, that is a little different strategy today. Now, here is the Warnick Motorsports machine. That's the Stephen Kopsick team, and of course, Nick Kopsick, the dad, has been instrumental, and there's no question about it. Stephen Kopsick is a great driver, but he's a great setup man, and he's extremely focused in everything he does. He told me earlier in the season, I never imagined that I'd be leading the points this far in the season, but not only am I leading, but I'm a huge factor, and that factor could put him atop of the food chain like Austin Beers was 1 year ago. But never count out Beers. Consistency is his story. Kyle, let's tell the story.
Has been on a run of top 10 runs for the last couple of years here on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour for last year's champion, a streak of 35 consecutive top 10s coming into tonight. That dates back to a 26th place finish at the Richmond Raceway, which was the second event of the year in 2024. That's the last time that he finished outside of the top 10, and he has finished out of the top 10 in just 16 of 73 races that he has started. That is 78% among top 10 finishers, including seventh place run last week at the Riverhead Raceway in New York. So looking to continue that streak here tonight. Has a good starting spot due to qualifying being rained out earlier today. Field set by the rule book. He will start on the front row with Kopsick here coming up. Again, an expected green flag in just about 10 or so minutes from now as track drying continues to wrap up.
Well, you can see the final group of teams are coming out, and they've been assigned, as we said before. There you're looking at the Adam Scavora race team as well coming out. There is Les, the gentleman we were talking about a little bit earlier. Very excited and pleased to be here. What a unique facility this facility is. It was built way ahead of its time when you look at it as a stadium. Would you believe this? But it is a fact. This is the largest seating stadium in the state of Maine, and that is an unbelievable situation if you think about it. This is the super speedway of Maine racing, and it's been that for a long time. We talk about the Oxford 250, but it's more than just a race, it's an event. Now, I've been here for that race. As Tom Mayberry and his son invited me, it's like no other. You know, we see comparisons at the World Series at Thompson Speedway, but this place comes to life with giant bonfires, and it is it is kind of a family parade type atmosphere, and that's what makes it so unique. Suites way atop the grandstand area, a grandstand that reaches up from the sky, and it all looks directly down on it, like an old arena, in old days of gladiators in the state of Maine here.
They'll pack as many as 14,000 spectators in this racetrack for their bigger events, and a lot of folks filing into the Speedway here now that have been hanging out in the parking lot the last couple of hours waiting for this track to dry. You mentioned the history here, and you ran down some of the drivers that have won here on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Going back to 1991, the last time that the Tour raced here, there have been 3 NASCAR Cup Series races or Premier races run here over the years, all in the 1960s. Bobby Allison, a 2-time winner here in 66 and 67. And the King himself won here in 1968. Richard Petty taking down a checkered flag at this historic oval that opened in 1950. More history to be added to the record books here tonight as the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and teams get closer to a start of the All-States Materials Group 150. For those just joining us on Flow Racing, welcome aboard. You haven't missed a thing. Just 2 practice sessions earlier this afternoon before the rains came, forcing officials to cancel qualifying and set the starting lineup by the rulebook. Jonathan McKennedy, the pace setter in both of those practice sessions. Austin Beers was second in both sessions. Paulie Hartwick was third. So those are 3 drivers that we'll look out for when we do go under the green flag. The rulebook setting the lineup, Stephen Kopsick and Austin Beers will be on the front row.
Well, they sure will. And, of course, as we said before, it looks like the final group of crew members are assembled on pit road. We have been informed, and this might be an adjustment in the schedule, we will run a super late model qualifying heat following the conclusion of that, the pre-race opening ceremonies, and then we'll move quickly right along. And, of course, as we move along, we'll run with the Whelen Modified Tour running of this prestigious event, brought to you in part by All-States Materials Group. As we said, they are the official sponsors for today's event. Everybody has been working so hard. You're looking at the official tire of the Whelen Modified Tour. The Grasso brothers are a part of the Emmerling team, and they've had a tremendous amount of success over the years with drivers through the ranks like Ronnie Silk years back, as well as, of course, been involved with Dave Zapienza and a whole bunch of other individuals in this great sport. So they are among the shining stars that make the magic from the backstage area as we are still continuing to work on this, the Oxford Plains 150.
This is the 6th event of the season. We have had 5 events already. Justin Bonsignor winning the season opener at the New Smyrna Speedway back in February. Stephen Kopsick went back-to-back at Martinsville and Thompson, his first and second career wins. John McKennedy won a couple weeks ago at the Seekonk Speedway, his 3rd career win. And then another first-time winner just last Saturday night, Mark Stewart picking up the win at the Riverhead Raceway on Long Island. As teams continue to assemble in the infield, you see the tires getting into place. Again, a 3-tire race for these teams, a 3-tire change race if needed.
That is a little different strategy than we've seen at some of the events so far this season. So that is going to be interesting. And you heard each of these competitors. Some said, we want to go for tires. But right now our attention shifts off turn number 4 because we are about ready to get them fired up as this, we'll call it the calm before the storm. No pun intended, no rain, sun shining here from Oxford Plains Speedway for the All-State Materials Group 150.
It's one of the most scenic regions in New England, southern Maine. Usually quiet and peaceful, the perfect place to get away. Those snowmobiles have been parked for the season, however, and have been replaced by NASCAR's only open-wheel division, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Steven Kopsik has looked the strongest over the first 5 races of the season, winning 2 of them, and comes into tonight as the championship leader. Tyler Ripkema is back after a heavy crash last week at Riverhead. John McKennedy has plenty of experience here in Super Modified and is one of the early favorites to win here tonight. And all 3 Catalano brothers are here as series regulars Tommy and Trevor will be joined by Tyler, who will make his season debut. It's the 6th race of the 2026 season, the All-States Material Group 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, next from Oxford Plains Speedway.
There's nothing like it. The sound of the mighty Modified.
The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour set to go.
The green is out.
He spins the tires and we're racing. Very fast, very intense laps.
A little bit of a stutter step there. They come together.
There's a number of 10 to 13 different drivers that can easily win this race. Trouble turn 4.
Drifts up just a bit.
Into the outside wall, but he takes the checkered flag.
The Whelen Modified Tour set to do battle.
It has been 12,767 days since the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour last raced at Oxford Plains Speedway in Maine. Or June 23rd, 1991. That streak ends tonight with the running of the All-States Material Group 150, race number 6 of the 2026 season. Kyle Rickey joined by Ben Dodge here from Oxford, Maine. Best from the better late than never department. A little bit of a rain delay earlier this afternoon, but the teams are lined up on the front straightaway and ready to go for 150 laps here this evening.
You know, the story today is this is going to be worth the wait. Why is that going to be the story? Because these competitors have come out in full force. The reason that they have been, well, waiting patiently as the rains came, because no one had the advantage of running time trials. They're setting the field today by the NASCAR rule book. Gary Putnam has made that announcement earlier in the pit area. Nobody has the advantage they thought they might. Many of the competitors have told us that they are ready. The Mighty Modifieds come to Oxford Plains Speedway. Tom Mayberry and Mike Mayberry's grand facility, the host of the Oxford 250. There's nothing like it. We've said it in the opening. We'll say it again, Kyle. This is the fastest and the oldest division in NASCAR.
It is indeed, and at a grand facility, as you mentioned, it opened in 1950, 3/10 of a mile around this pretty much a circle, an asphalt circle, just 9 degrees in the banking that these modified drivers will have to work with here. So fairly flat compared to a lot of the tracks that we have run over the years as the field begins to make its way around the racetrack now for the first of several parade and pace laps following this 60 or so minute delay in the action. 150 laps tonight and modified live pit stops.
Live pit stops, something a little bit different. Look at the tire allotment. 2 tire changes per caution period, 3 change tires total. Now, Bonza's been covering the action down on pit road. Bonza, tell us the strategy and the story of the tires for this event.
We'll check with him in just a moment down on the pit lane as we take a look at some of the prior winners here at Oxford Plains Speedway. Richie Evans, of course, winning in the inaugural season of the Tour in 1985. Jimmy Spencer, a 2-time winner here in 86 and 87. Magic Shoes, Mike McLaughlin in 1988, and Jeff Fuller, the most recent winner way back in 1991.
You know, there's so many other side stories for this event. Austin Beers continues that historic streak with top 10 finishes. At Riverhead last Saturday night, he continued to do that at its best. His 7th place finish marked the 35th consecutive top 10 for the defending champion. Steven Kopsik enters the event as the point leader going in. 10-point advantage, and Austin Beers through 5 of 16 races now in the record book.
Let's check in with the third member of our broadcast team. Could be a busy night for Bonza 2 Foot down on the pit lane.
Thank you, Kyle. Yes, Oxford Plains Speedway is a track that's known for a pretty wore-out surface, which means tires could fall off. But as you mentioned, we have modified live pit stops. What does that mean? Where you enter pit road is where you come out. You cannot pass other people on pit road. Those who don't pit will pass those who do pit. Now, when we talk about tires, you can have 3 change tires for a race, but you can only change 2 per pit stop. That includes swapping the tires, whether you're swapping rights or swapping lefts. The question is, how much will these tires fall off? Because in the end, if you have a late caution with 20 or 30 to go, you put on one of these bad boys, maybe you'll gain some speed, get through the pack, and come home in victory lane.
Well, everybody'd like to know that $1 million question here today. We'll see if it can be put to the test here. Front row in the competition, Stephen Kopsick and, of course, Austin Beers. That's a pair to beat a full house on any racetrack in modified racing.
Field, of course, set by the rule book after qualifying was rained out. Patrick Emmerling and John McKennedy in row number 2. Then it's Tommy Catalano and Eric Goodale in row 3.
And row number 4 in the competition sees Tyler Ripkema along with Matt Hirschman. Row number 5, Michael Christopher Jr., car 31, and Teddy Hodgson the 4th.
As the field gets the 1 to go signal, Trevor Catalano and Andrew Moeller in row number 6, inside and out. Then Paulie Hartwig the 3rd, and John Michael Chanette starting 14th.
Then we go back to Ken Heggie in the number 18 car starting 15th. Ronnie Williams starting back in 16th. Tyler Catalano in 17th, and Anthony Nocella will start back in 18th. Pace is much slower as they head behind the safety vehicle. At the point, we're ready to do battle. As we said, this is a big circle. There's no straightaway drag race, go to the turn, get back on the gas and go. Kyle, we're moments away from going to the green here for the Oxford running of this prestigious modified event, the Oxford Plains 150.
Green flag is out. Stephen Kopsick, Austin Beers, turn 1 for the first time for 150 laps here this evening. Race number 6 of the season. And it's Beers in the outside lane. It gets the early advantage in the first half lap, but here comes Kopsick back around. He'll lead lap number 1 as everybody tries to find their early footing here in this event.
Meanwhile, moving up to the inside, it is Patrick Emmerling. The Energizer number 1 dips to the bottom of the racetrack. All of a sudden, John McKennedy is there. Those 2 cars have found a lower groove. Kopsick leads, but for how long as they head down the back straightaway?
Patrick Emmerling going to dip in the line in the 2nd spot after setting the fastest lap of the race in the first couple of circuits. Then McKennedy, then Beers, and then Tommy Catalano to round out the top 5. Front half of the field, single file. First car out of line, mid-pack, is Michael Christopher Jr., and he too will join most everybody else down against the white line on this racetrack.
Meanwhile, keep your eyes on Anthony Nocella, driving that number 17 car. He started in scratch. He has picked up 5 positions already. Back up front, fastest car in the first practice, fastest car in the second practice. John McKennedy moves into second. He's not done yet. Kopsick's got his hands full. Here comes McKennedy.
Started in the 4th position for McKennedy and has made his way up to position number 2 here. Just 1 spot behind Stephen Kopsick, the early race leader. And as Ben mentioned, 2 practices earlier today. McKennedy was at the top of the charts on both, or at the end of both of those practice sessions. And he is challenging for the race lead and may do it the hard way, the outside lane or the middle lane to the racetrack on Kopsick.
He goes to the outside, dive bombs down, looking for the crossover. Can't complete the move. Kopsick has still got it. Then side by side for the 3rd position. On a roll to the inside. Here comes Beers. Bit up front, Kyle, for the lead, as well as 3rd and 4th.
McKennedy working well right now in that outside lane on Stephen Kopsick, who has led the opening laps of this event, 8 so far. McKennedy noses out front, top of the racetrack off of turn number 4, and it looks like he may lead lap number 9 here. He does by a car length over Kopsick. Then Beers is 3rd, Emmerling 4th. That battle has sorted itself out. And Tyler Ripkema now up into the top 5 in car number 3.
Well, you're looking at the leader. It is now McKennedy in command of this event. Let's look a little further back, Kyle, at that 5th position with Tyler Ripkema. That is not the car that he wrecked at Riverhead Raceway. It is one of the older cars. They dusted it off the jack stands in the barn. It's looking very racy among the top 5 positions. He told us earlier, not feeling well today, but you wouldn't know it by the way he's running with Old Blue.
Wanting a rebound after that incident into the catch fence at Riverhead Raceway. A tore-up race car, but in a secondary car here for tonight, and running 5th, getting into line right now. Keeping an eye on Michael Christopher Jr. further back, trying to move forward. Fresh off a 2nd place run last night in an SK Modified, and has found himself deep in the field, but that team has done a lot of work this week in improving the car, changing some personnel around, also trying to move forward, but right now finds himself 13th.
And it's showing. He is all over the back bumper, trying to contend and work his way towards the front of this field. Just ahead of them, Catalano, car 54, is running to the outside. He is right there contending. And, of course, Andrew Moeller is there. Heggie is there among the cars at the mid-pack session. Here comes Moeller, trying to make the move to the inside, forces Catalano up the hill. He'll run in the tire tracks of the 50 of Ronnie Williams.
Ronnie Williams leads that pack of traffic from 9th on back. It is Williams over Moeller in the orange 82, and then Tommy Catalano, the 17, coming up through the field as well. Talked to him in our pre-race, Anthony Nocella. Nocella has worked around about a half a dozen or so cars and has worked his way to the back bumper of Andrew Moeller for a spot just outside of the top 10. In fact, for the 10th position.
Now keep your eyes on that 73 car, because that is, of course, the Hartwig machine. It's running in the 6th position. Now, where did that car start this event? Well, it didn't start it up front, because the reason he started back in 13th position is the way they were forced to start based on points and performance.
By the rule book for Paulie Hartwig, and of course he is a little deeper in the standings, missed the first race of the year. Paulie didn't turn 15 until February 1st. That's when he became eligible to compete, so missed the race at the New Smyrna Speedway. Martinsville Speedway had rear end issues and finished 29th, had an oil leak in Thompson. Finally trying to find some positive momentum with a 12th place run at Riverhead, as we have some racing further up front, including for position number 3. Patrick Emmerling makes the pass there as we have trouble on the front stretch.
Well, it is a car that spawned one of the USNE power cars for the Catalano family. This is the number 54 machine that will bring out the first caution of the event. That's Tommy Catalano, who started in the 5th position. Just as that was starting to come into play off turn number 4, there was a good battle that was shaping up front with Patrick Emmerling. Eric Goodale has moved into the top 5 with his machine, and of course Goodale with the number 58 car started in the 6th spot. Not a big mover and shaker so far, but we've still got a ways to go.
Tommy Catalano, so optimistic when we talked to him a bit ago. Back-to-back top 5 finishes, but right now Bonza, he finds himself last on the racetrack after the trouble in turn 4.
He was following back on the outside, Kyle, and Tommy was complaining the car is too tight. He is driving off those front tires, and sometimes when you get too tight in the center of the corner, you might get loose off. That spin is a minor setback, but they'll be ready to come down pit road in a moment to try and fix that car's handling.
And he may not be alone, Ben.
It looks like we've got some other takers as well. Matt Hirschman is still struggling with the number 60 car. He's back in the 18th position where Hirschman is running currently. That is not like him at all. However, he did inform us that they're trying to get the bugs shaken out of this car, and he just doesn't seem to have any luck at all here at the start of this season. So much history, so much involved here, but there's no question so far. Down on pit road, among the leading rookies, it is Teddy Hodgson. Chanette is the next car in. Then it is Matt Hirschman, and 2 of the Catalano cars, the number 54 machine and the number 84 car of Tyler Catalano. Those cars are in on pit road. Let's see what's going to happen as we go down to Bonza. Bonza?
Matt Hirschman is down pit road. He had struggled with finding the setup on the car all day. Could not find the balance on that 60 car. They're going to make a chassis adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. No change tires. Too early for that, but they're adjusting on Hirschman's car, trying to get it better. He's down and away.
Hirschman had everything to gain, Kyle, by coming in. He was running 18th position of 18 cars on the racetrack. The Bar Harbor Bank machine looking to make a deposit of cash by winning this event.
Struggling with the right rear of the Catalano car on the pit lane. That is Tommy Catalano, and trying to keep that car on the lead lap as the pace car comes off of turn number 4, averaging 25 miles per hour under these caution flags. Pit road speed 20 miles per hour. Catalano able to get back on the racetrack. Will stay on the lead lap as we have completed 24 circuits in this All-State Materials Group 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour here at Oxford Plains Speedway.
Appears that all of a sudden Kopsick tried to pull on a line for a second. He has moved up alongside of Patrick Emmerling. We're not sure exactly what the story is there. Now drifts back in the line. Let's set the field for you. It is Jonathan McKennedy, one of only 2 leaders so far. Tyler Ripkema, car number 3 is, correction on that. It is Austin Beers, who is running up in the 2nd spot with car number 64. Then it is the 1 of Patrick Emmerling up to the 3rd spot. Stephen Kopsick is in 4th. Tyler Ripkema is 5th. And Trevor Catalano will round out the top 6.
Then it will be Eric Goodale and Paulie Hardwick in row 4, and Ronnie Williams and Andrew Moeller to round out the front 5 rows as they have doubled up in their rows of 2. Tyler Catalano making a secondary stop here on the pit lane as we are a half a lap away from going back under the green flag.
So they look to pick up the pace just a bit. You're looking at the field as we're about ready to fire them up off turn number 4. Here they come. Down to the stripe. The All-States Material Group 150 is back under green. John McKennedy. Good advantage down low. Beers is there in 2nd. But once McKennedy's car starts to settle in, it literally pulls away from Austin Beers in 2nd.
Beers fades to the 2nd position. Front 5 will single out as they cross the line. Patrick Emmerling, Stephen Kopsick, Tyler Ripkema. 1 car backsliding just a bit. That's Trevor Catalano stuck in the outside lane. Ronnie Williams goes to his inside, and now we'll find pressure from another competitor to the bottom of Anthony Nocella.
Remember, Nocella started back in the final row in this event. He started in the 18th starting position. Where is Nocella now? He's up to the top 8. That's right, 8th position and still moving forward. Ripkema now applying a lot of pressure to Stephen Kopsick. That is the bid for the 4th position. Here comes Ripkema down low, challenging to take over 4th.
Best race on the speedway right now is for position number 4. That Old Blue coming to life. The only team on the tour currently that competed in the last race here back in 1991. Doug Hebron was driving the car on that evening. Finished in the 2nd spot, and Ripkema giving it a good run here early on tonight. Finishing, or right now, running in position number 4 in Old Blue.
Let's drop a little bit further back. Trevor Catalano, the 56 car, has just made a move around Anthony Nocella. Now he is broken into the bottom of the top 8. Ronnie Williams is just in front of him, but he's got a quick race car, and the times are showing. He is getting quicker each and every circuit by. Goodale now pressuring Kopsick. That's the battle for 5th.
That's the side or nose to tail battle for position. Also have an eye on Nocella. That car was way loose going into turn number 1 last time by and just out of frame as we watch this battle for position number 5. Goodale trying to get a run on Kopsick, who is backsliding just a bit here. And still in the first third of this event, working lap number 35 right now of the 150 to be run this evening. Kopsick lost a spot to Goodale last time, and now here comes Ronnie Williams to the inside to make a pass for the 6th spot.
Ronnie Williams has been coming to the front of the field like a surgeon, making his presence known. He'll work his magic from the 16th position. Williams is currently in the top 7, and he is still getting stronger each and every circuit by. Car that is seeming to falter just a bit is Stephen Kopsick. Kopsick has dropped back. Now he is back in the 8th position and Anthony Nocella is challenging him, and directly behind them, the 73 of Paulie Hartwig, the youngster.
After starting on the pole in this race, talking about Steven Kopsick, we've talked about some of the movers up through the field, like a Ronnie Williams or an Anthony Nocella. While going the wrong way, Steven Kopsick has gone from pole position and early race leader back to the 8th position, and has Anthony Nocella breathing down his neck here on the front stretch. Hardwick is there within a length in car number 73. Andrew Moeller and Teddy Hodgson not too far out of frame.
Meanwhile, it appears that Nocella's car is loosened up. Really gets loose coming off the turn. You're looking at it there. Gathers it back, makes the move. All of a sudden, Kopsick loses one more. Paulie Hartwig is there, inside and challenging as Kopsick's car drifts up the racetrack. And now on the bottom shot move, another contender. It is Moeller with car 82.
Andrew Moeller now to the inside as Kopsick really backsliding. He has lost about 5 seconds to race leader Jonathan McKennedy and beginning to lose touch with some of the race leaders. Tucks in the line behind Teddy Hodgson, but outside of the top 10, running in the 12th position right now is Kopsick. No change up front. Still Jonathan McKennedy by 0.2 of a second over Austin Beers, although the way Beers has closed in the last few laps, we might have a change here in the next couple of circuits. Austin Beers right there within a length of Jonathan McKennedy, and they've been able to break away from Emmerling just a bit in car number 1, who has settled into line in the 3rd spot for now.
You know, earlier today, both of these competitors were talking. We've got the caution flag coming out. Caution flag is out. We're not sure, possibly debris or something on the racetrack. And that does appear to be the problem up in the turn 3 area. So that'll bring out the second caution of the event. When we talked to John McKennedy, he said he had a good race car, but he did not have the car that he wanted. He's got more laps on this racetrack than anyone else, and it's showing. But when we talked to Beers, well, that was a whole different situation. There's the air cleaner off one of the cars that is on the racetrack, and we're not sure. We'll be checking on the cars as they come down. It is off the Beers number 64 car, the Sly Zabin Ronnie Uhouse prepared race car, and you can see the carburetor sticking through the hood, and there is no air cleaner. So this could change the complexion of this event, as well as Beers, Mr. Consistency, is currently running in that 2nd spot. Will there be takers, Kyle, in this? Well, we are now looking at the big board. Laps are counting. And of course, as we look up at it, we still have approximately 105 laps remaining in this event.
That means we are 45 laps completed, and we'll see after a fairly long green flag run there if we have some takers on the pit lane. We know of one driver coming to pit road, and he was 2nd on the racetrack, and that is Austin Beers. Steps out of line and makes the hard left onto the pit lane here off of turn number 4. Kopsick also comes to pit road along with Michael Christopher Jr. and others as we go to pit road, and Bonza Tufa in the Austin Beers pit stall.
Austin Beers is in. No air cleaner, as you mentioned. They have a spare at the ready. They're going to install it on Beers' machine. Beers complained in the short run that he was lacking grip. Steven Kopsick, the pole sitter, is parked right in front of Beers. Kopsick's car got tight. They're making an air pressure adjustment and a sway bar adjustment, but no changed tires as of yet. Just focusing on adjustments right now before replacing those tires. Kopsick needing to rotate better. Can't keep that car stuck on the bottom lane right up against the curb. That's why he kept sliding up and losing spots, guys.
Well, we've just been watching the Austin Beers team. They literally took the threaded rod at the center of the carburetor off, threw it away, put another one on. They are tightening it as we speak. It looks like Beers is going to be able to make it back out, and rather quickly. Just in front of that car on pit road is, of course, the Franzosa machine, and that, of course, is Steven Kopsick's race car. There's his dad looking to the back of the left side of your screen. He is checking on things, and it appears that Kopsick will make it back out as well.
Field on the 1 to go, and it'll take a moment to sort some of the drivers out that came to pit road for their pit stops a moment ago. Austin Beers going back out onto the racetrack. Michael Christopher Jr. making a look like a tire change from our view up here in the tower. The caution flag is out to resort the cars that made a stop on the pit lane. There were 8 of them a lap ago, and of course they will restart in the order they came in with these modified live pit stops. So that means Austin will restart ahead of the other 7 drivers that followed him onto the pit lane.
And in addition to that, we want to mention car number 50, Ronnie Williams. This is up to the 5th position. And in the Empower Financial Group machine, where did he start in all of this? Started back in the 16th spot. So he's a big mover and shaker in the competition here as well.
Let's hear from Steven Kopsik's pit stall with Bonzes. We're a half a lap away from the restart.
Steven Kopsik, as I mentioned, came in. They actually took a little bit of air out the right rear tire, meaning his car was on the loose end. Still hard to get it off the bottom lane or on the bottom lane because the back end wants to come around on that 21 machine. So they made an adjustment with the air pressure and the sway bar to tighten that car up. Patrick Emmerling was happy with the car. John McKennedy, quiet.
John McKennedy is quiet, but not on the racetrack as he pulls away on the restart. Here comes to the outside Eric Goodale. He puts the hammer down, going to the outside of Tyler Ripkema off turn 4.
Ripkema in 3rd, Goodale in 4th, in line just in front, or trying to get in front of Ronnie Williams, who goes to his inside in the 50. Goodale in the outside lane in the 58. That's the first nose-to-nose race for position. Just into the top 5. Behind them, you have the 56 of Trevor Catalano, Paulie Hartwick, Anthony Nocella continues his climb toward the front, Andrew Moeller as well in the orange 82.
Meanwhile, it is Williams who moves into the top 4. He's got a race car that digs in low on the inside. Meanwhile, the 56 machine of Trevor Catalano has moved into the top 6. Directly behind them, it is Paulie Hartwick. Silent but deadly, he is coming to the front of this field. That youngster's got more than potential. He's got a big right foot.
Want to keep an eye on some of the drivers that were on pit road a few laps ago, having a tough time making progress up toward the front of the field, including Michael Christopher Jr., Austin Beers still in the 14th position, Tyler Catalano, Steven Kopsik on pit lane, and right now is just out of the top 10, running in 11th. So he's been the big mover so far since we have gone back under the green flag as we watch Goodale and Catalano race for position. That is for this 5th spot as they make their way off of turn number 4, just behind Ronnie Williams.
Now the gap between the 1st and 2nd position has narrowed it down to .876. It's getting a little bit, it's getting a little bit close and dicey in that quest. Ripkema continues to run with Emmerling. Further back in the field, as we said, good battle shaping up there as now it appears that Ripkema tries to test the waters. Emmerling's car starting to loosen up, but on exit, he will pull away. On entry, it works to the advantage of Ripkema.
Emmerling hangs on to the runner-up spot for now, still about 8/10, now 7/10 of a second behind Jonathan McKennedy, the race leader, one of the largest leads that we have seen in this race thus far, which is still shy of halfway, 58 laps complete, 92 laps to go here tonight at Oxford Plains, and still about 8/10 of a second back to Emmerling in 2nd. You have Ripkema in 3rd, Williams in 4th, and a new 5th place runner right now.
We
just
sure
made the
do.
pass a moment ago.
It sure is, and that, of course, moving forward, Trevor Catalano moves now into the top 5. He has just won around Goodale that a few laps ago looked like a shoo-in to make his presence known in the top 4 with Ronnie Williams. Now Goodale tries to motor back into contention, can't quite do it, and there is Paulie Hartwick. 3rd car on your screen in that battle, as we said before, that is for the 5th, 6th, and 7th position.
Goodale trying to play a little defense here as the 73 is closed within a car length. Paulie Hartwick the 3rd. That battle for the 6th and 7th positions out on the racetrack as Jonathan McKennedy opens it up at the point. 1.3 seconds. Has really been able to drive away from the battle for 2nd with Emmerling, Ripkema, Williams. Then this battle to Trevor Catalano in the 56, Eric Goodale next in line, and Paulie Hartwick fading just a little bit. Car number 73 again. how many drivers are saving their tires, how many drivers are conserving equipment, just wanting to get to the second half of this event and have a shot, although it's going to be tough to close in on the race leader. He has been at the point all day. Jonathan McKennedy, fastest in both practice sessions earlier today. Looks pretty sporty right now.
Look at what's happening now all of a sudden for the runner-up position. Tyler Ripkema in Old Blue, and this is the old model of Old Blue, moves in, takes over second. That car is now in command of the number 2 spot. Will he be able to pull away from Emmerling? While that has been happening, it is the Williams machine, car number 50, that has moved in to the 4th position and now closing up that gap as well. Williams started 16th on the field. He is not done yet. Car number 50 is now all over Emmerling.
And McKennedy falling off the pace just a bit these last few laps. We talked about the large lead. Well, it is gone. Here comes Ripkema, and he's pulling Emmerling and Williams with him just a bit. Top 4 have really snapped back together in the last 3 or 4 circuits, so we'll keep an eye out front. Also, Michael Christopher Jr. has some pressure from Austin Beers. He's trying to continue to carve his way through the field after a stop a few laps ago.
He's back in the 15th position, Kyle, and he is struggling with Michael Christopher and Teddy Hodgson. They've got a long ways to go. Back up front, 3rd position is the battle. It is still Emmerling there. Meanwhile, Williams will try. Inside lane opens up. Can't complete the move. He pulls back in the line, but he is applying the pressure very impressively.
And I wonder if Jonathan McKennedy is playing with them right now. He slowed a few laps ago. The distance closed to within 2 car lengths back to Tyler Ripkema in 2nd, and this battle for 3rd with Emmerling and Williams. They were there within a half second. And now McKennedy tiptoeing away once again, building a 9/10 of a second lead as this race for 3rd continues. Emmerling in the 1, and Ronnie Williams in the number 50. That black and blue numerals 50 car goes into the corner. Trying to peek to the inside, looking to build a run on the straightaways is Williams, but unable to find the inside lane to his advantage, at least as of right now. We'll cool the tires a bit here this time around and fall into line 1 length behind Emmerling, or will he in turn 2?
Well, he tries everything. It does not work this time. But then look just a little bit further back, because you'll see that Catalano is being pressured heavily by Goodale. And it is Paulie Hartwig that is located there as well. Here comes Goodale. Nice move to the inside. Catalano just drifted up the racetrack just a bit. That is Trevor Catalano, and here comes Paulie Hartwig. Orange car to the inside of your screen, down low, going, gone. Paulie Hartwig moves up. Let's go back up to 3rd, Kyle. We've got a side-by-side battle, and it looks like it is. Ronnie Williams is now up on the podium.
It was only a matter of time before he made the pass. He tried lap after lap after lap at each end of the racetrack, and finally got the room that he was looking for and the momentum on the inside lane. Was able to take the 3rd spot away from Patrick Emmerling as we are closing in. In fact, just crossing over the halfway mark here tonight. This race is official. 76 laps complete now, and it's still Jonathan McKennedy. 7/10 of a second. Tyler Ripkema in 2nd, trying to keep him within arm's reach. Ronnie Williams, Patrick Emmerling, Eric Goodale, the top 5. Then it's Paulie Hartwig, Trevor Catalano, Anthony Nocella, Andrew Moeller, and John Michael Chenette in the top 10.
Certainly is. Good run for Chenette. Meanwhile, Austin Beers, it's more than another shot at the title with him. Remember that consistent record we talked about? He's all over Teddy Hodgson. That's taking place back in the 13th and the 14th position. He cannot seem to pick up any spots. Now Hodgson dives low to the inside of a 2nd Catalano car, but it is Beers still right with them, but no big movement there.
And at 16-second laps, Austin Beers finds himself about 8 seconds behind the race leader, running 14th. So about a half lap down is Beers on McKennedy. So as he's fighting through traffic, it's allowing those in front of him to just simply pull away from the rest of the field. Teddy Hodgson in that pack of traffic as well, Ben.
He certainly is, and he's done a very, very good job, the rookie driver. Let's go back up front and look at Goodale. All of a sudden, Patrick Emmerling dropped back to the 4th position. When that seemed to happen, Goodale seemed to pick up some momentum. It appears that the one car is tightening up now. Watch Goodale on entry. He can reel him in, but on exit, it just isn't the story there.
Mentioned Teddy Hodgson a moment ago, currently in the 12th spot. Let's get more from his pit stall with Bonza.
Teddy Hodgson pitted earlier in this race, saying that his car was too loose. They made air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment to try and correct that a bit. He still has some work to do, but he has made a couple passes since the restart.
Was on pit road on lap number 23 for Teddy Hodgson, and here he comes, making a pass further back with Matt Hirschman in the 60.
While that was happening, Kyle, all of a sudden Goodale now moves into the top 4. Went down low underneath Patrick Emmerling. Here comes Paulie Hartwig. He is now just out of the top 5, but he is hungry and trying to close up that gap.
That's a good race for position. Goodale in the 58, Emmerling in the 1, backsliding just a bit here the last couple of circuits. Paulie Hartwig closing in car number 73. Right now all on the bottom of the racetrack, longest green flag run of the night. 85 of 150 laps complete, and it's still McKennedy by about half a second over Tyler Ripkema in the 2nd spot. Ronnie Williams in 3rd as we continue to watch Austin Beers further in traffic. About a half a lap behind, but up to 12th right now in a battle with Matt Hirschman.
2 more positions, but that's all. Just out of, currently setting in the 12th position, just out of the top 10. So he's coming, but this long green flag run doesn't seem to help him that much. Just in front of our leaders, we've got 2 lapped automobiles. The Heggie number 18 car and the number 84 car also right there contending as well.
That is Tyler
Catalano.
All on the lead lap right now, all 18 starters, but we may lose 2 off the lead lap if this race stays under the green flag too much longer. Catalano and Heggie.
Meanwhile, a little further back, here comes Moeller. He goes to the inside of Anthony Nocella. And as we said before, this is a battle for the 8th, 9th, and 10th position. John Michael Chenette turning in one of his best runs of 2026 in the US Eddie Power Machine. And there is Teddy Hodgson, Kyle. He just went down underneath Anthony Nocella.
He did, and May is able to make the pass. That is deeper in the lineup. That is for the 10th position. So move Hodgson to 10th, Anthony Nocella back to the 11th spot. Closing in on John Michael Chenette, the young driver that we were talking about just a moment ago. I say young, 39 years old. I guess that's still young, from Thompson, Connecticut. Fairly new to the Tour, just 21 starts. Coming into tonight, his best finish, 12th on 2 different occasions. Looking for a top 10 run here this evening, and he's in position to do that right now, running in the 9th position with still a long way to go. Let's hear from more from John Michael Chenette's pit with Bonza down on pit road.
The one advantage that John Michael Chenette has, guys, is that he has a lot of laps logged here at Oxford Plains Speedway. Not in the modified, but he knows the way this track acts, especially as conditions change. And the conditions have changed a lot since the green flag. He was struggling with a car that was extremely tight during practice. They made a litany of changes to the car. Nothing really changed, but they've gotten it going better right now, trying to get his best career finish in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour.
All of a sudden, our attention shifts further forward in this event. Meanwhile, the battle has become a battle between the 1 car of Patrick Emmerling and Paulie Hartwig. The orange number 73 car runs in his tire tracks, coming off the turn, made a look to the bottom. It didn't complete the mission there as he comes off the turn, down the back straightaway, and Emmerling starts to pull away.
That's for the 5th spot as they work around the slower car of Tyler Catalano. Emmerling has the position. Hartwig is next, then the 56 of Trevor Catalano, all sizing each other up here. Hartwig has looked to the inside of Emmerling, and at the same time, Catalano has looked to the inside of Hartwig. So a really good 3-way race, about a full straightaway behind the top 4 of McKennedy, Ripkema, Williams, and Eric Goodale.
Meanwhile, again, trying to make the move. Paulie Hartwig saw some daylight. He moves to the inside. Emmerling slips up. He's in the middle groove. Here comes Hartwig. Bottom shot move. Paulie Hartwig takes over the spot. Emmerling drifts up wide, Kyle. And right there is Cavallano. He's trying to contend to pick up the spot as well.
Best we have seen Hardwick run here on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour in just his 5th start. Again, wasn't old enough to compete in the season opener back in February, and turned 15 on February 21st, about a week after the event. Had some mechanical issues, but running well here tonight in the 5th position, moving around. One of the best, the driver of car number 1 of Patrick Emmerling just 2 laps ago.
And if you're wondering where Austin Beers is, he is just out of the top 10 in the 11th position, behind the rookie competitor, working him over, and that is Teddy Hodgson. Hodgson running in 10th with the number 05 car, and directly behind is Beers. So Beers is picking them off one at a time. Here comes Catalano. Good move to the inside. Catalano now has the spot. That changes again the complexion of this event.
That is 19-year-old Trevor Catalano moving to the inside of the Energizer 1 of Patrick Emmerling. Patrick, of course, a longtime veteran of this tour, 181 starts, a 9-time winner for the 33-year-old from Orchard Park, New York, losing a spot there to the 56 of Trevor Catalano. That is for 6th spot on the Speedway. Move Emmerling back to 7th. They were racing with Paulie Hartwig not that long ago, but Paulie has since been able to pull away in position number 5.
Well, all of that has been happening. All of a sudden, Goodale seems to be closing in on the back bumper of Ronnie Williams. Williams is still trying to set the pace and hold on to that position there as Williams continues to run strong. Williams, of course, age 29 in the Adam Scavora machine, 49 starts, 3 top finishes in the top 5. Best was a 3rd at Richmond back in 2021, and at Thompson met with misfortune. He's a 2-time Stafford SK Modified champion.
You're looking at the top 4 on your screen right now. Jonathan McKennedy in the 79. Tyler Ripkema 0.6 of a second back, or about 5 car lengths on the racetrack, in 2nd. Then it's Ronnie Williams in 3rd, that black and blue numeral to number 50. And then the red and yellow, number 58 of Eric Goodale, running in 4th, 1.4 seconds, separating the top 4 right now. And if we stay under the green flag much longer, we're under a long stretch right now, Matt Hirschman, the next car to fall off of the lead lap and just in front of the leaders in the 16th position. So we'll keep an eye on that 60 car to come into the race leaders' view here shortly.
And just as that is the story, Stephen Kopsik is back with the 21 car in the 15th spot. Anthony Nocella has backslid to the 14th position. Tommy Catalano, 13th spot. Beers is just out of the top 10. 40 laps to go.
Kopsik nearly turned that 17 car around off of turn number 4, and Nocella just let him know he's not happy in turn number 2, giving him a little bit of a kiss to the back bumper off the corner and up the back straightaway. Kopsik is able to get away. Nocella falls into the clutches of Hirschman, and they're both about to find race leader Jonathan McKennedy, close in on them, and potentially off the lead lap here shortly for both Nocella and Hirschman, as McKennedy has been able to not only maintain the lead, but close in on the back of the field with 38 laps to go here this evening at Oxford Plains Speedway.
There's no question about that. Meanwhile, it is a good battle still going on for 15th, 16th, and 17th. If you're wondering where Austin Beers is, he's still in the 11th position. His next target on the racetrack is the number 05 of Teddy Hodgson. But there is a huge margin between the two, and that margin could be a big factor coming up in the closing laps of today's event.
Watching the race leaders navigate some of that traffic at the tail end of the field. There's Teddy Hodgson in the 05, John Michael Chanette in the 8. They are 9th and 10th on the racetrack, just behind Andrew Moeller. And not too far in front of the race leaders, about a straightaway. They have a little bit of a distance as Nocella now goes a lap down in the 17. McKennedy goes to his outside, closing in on Tyler Catalano, who is set to also fall another lap off the pace. This will be 2 for Tyler.
Let's take a look at that 21 car now. Stephen Kopsik is back in the 14th position. He is right there. Lead cars come up on heavy traffic. another Catalano car to the inside. But it still remains John McKennedy. Margin between first and second, 0.791. But right now, let's take a look directly behind them. It appears that Tyler Ripkema is closing up the gap, but not as quickly as we anticipated. Where is Austin Beers? Still in 11th. Where is Steven Kopsik? Just out of the top 14.
Tyler Ripkema closed within a half second a lap ago, then had to negotiate some traffic. He is 7/10ths back. Let's get thoughts from his pit area and see what Tyler's saying with Bonza Tufa.
Tyler Ripkema right now having a tough time lapping past Anthony Nocella, but Ripkema said the car is a little bit tight in the center of the corner, and he had been struggling with a car all day in practice that was loose, so now they flipped to the other side of the spectrum, just a bit snug, but it's still really stout. He runs in second, but Ronnie Williams is closing in, and Williams has...
is continuing to close up that gap on Ripkema. Just a few laps ago, it didn't look like this at all. Now, all of a sudden, less than 2 car lanes, and Ronnie Williams is on a tear. He is in third, and Tyler Ripkema can almost feel the heat of the radiator in that battle there.
Ken Hagee has fallen an additional lap down, and the next driver in front of John McKennedy as of right now is the pole sitter, Steven Kopsik, and the current championship leader. Kopsik faded early and has never really been able to recover. Right now, 14th in the final car on the lead lap for Steven.
He has stalled out in that 14th position. He has not been able to gain anything whatsoever. But here comes John McKennedy. Now coming up on lap traffic, Ripkema is there as well. And here comes Williams. Turn 4. Williams to the inside. Heggie directly in front of them. And here comes Goodale. 3 cars contending. Less than 25 to go.
Second, third, and fourth. We're lapping around the Hagee car to the inside. Ripkema, Williams, and Goodale. Full straightaway behind Jonathan McKennedy, the race leader, who is about to put a lap on pole sitter and point leader Steven Kopsik in the 21 car. Kopsik trying to keep that car on the lead lap. Perhaps get a caution. We have been caution-free for quite some time, since lap number 46 when we went back under the green flag. 2 yellows, both in the first 50 laps of this event. 23 laps to go, and it has been all John McKennedy for much of this event.
Imagine this, John McKennedy all over a car that started in front of him in the front row. McKennedy. Meanwhile, Kopsik continues to fight for his life. He does not want to go down a lap. Back end of the car shifts out to the right. Here comes McKennedy, looking high, now looking low.
And to the bottom he goes for Jonathan McKennedy on Steven Kopsik, who will fall off the lead lap with 20 laps to go here in this 150-lap event. Gap first to second, even with all of that traffic for McKennedy, 1.5 seconds back to Ripkema, who's been able to drive away from a tight battle for third with Ronnie Williams and Eric Goodale.
No question about that. Now, the other big story is Austin Beers is back in the 11th position. Remember the importance for him to have those top 10 finishes. He has got to pick up at least one more spot. He wants even more than that, but that is the story. Back in 10th and 11th. Teddy Hodgson is 10th, Beers is in 11th, and Michael Christopher is now in the top 12. Goodale tries to make a move underneath Williams. Door opens on the inside. And all of a sudden, here comes Goodale. They come together. Off the turn by inches. Eric Goodale has picked up the 3rd spot. He is on the podium, Kyle.
Ronnie Williams kicked back to 4th. Paulie Hartwick closing in 5th. One of the fastest cars in the top 5. Second perhaps to Jonathan McKennedy, the race leader, who continues the lap through some traffic. Moved around Tommy Catalano just a moment ago, so that'll put 12 cars on the lead lap. The last of them about a half a straightaway in front of the leader. That is Michael Christopher Jr.
Then just out of that is Tommy Catalano in 13th, Kopsick in 14th, Nocella in 15th, and Matt Hirschman rounding out the top 16. Time is clicking away, and of course, John McKennedy is not showing any weakness here. Tyler Ripkema, margin between first and second, as Kyle pointed out, it is growing and getting bigger and bigger on every circuit.
About 1.4 seconds in 2 lap cars between the race leader, Jonathan McKennedy, and Tyler Ripkema, coming to 12 laps to go this time by. McKennedy led both practice sessions earlier today, started mid-pack, actually in row 2, outside of the second row in the 4th position, quickly made his way up to second, and then ultimately to the race lead during the first run of this event. And he has been there ever since for Jonathan McKennedy, who brings the field off of turn number 4, continues to open it up over Tyler Ripkema. Now 2.3 seconds, as Ripkema really struggling in some traffic now, including Stephen Kopsick and the 54 of Tommy Catalano.
While that has been happening, Paulie Hartwig has reeled in on the back of Ronnie Williams' race car. That is the battle for the 4th and 5th position. The big question is, as we are down under 10, will he be able to make the move? Now, all of a sudden, one of the Catalano cars off the pace, and he does not, yes, he does turn down on pit road. Back to the front of the field. Meanwhile, it is Kopsick who tries to hold off Goodale. Goodale continuing to fight for it in 3rd. Remember, Kopsick not a factor. He's still at the bottom of the top 13.
Yeah, Kopsick off the lead lap and just wanting to get to the end of this one here. Tucks in behind Eric Goodale, who is battling Tyler Ripkema for position number 2. Goodale, a good long run car here. The longer this race goes, the faster and more comfortable Goodale seems to get. Has come from several lengths back to close to right on the back bumper of Tyler Ripkema for the 2nd spot.
You know, at the bottom of the top 10, Patrick Emmerling is in 7th. Moeller has moved into 8th with the Danny Watts 82, and John Michael Chenette, great run for him with car number 8 is 9th. Teddy Hodgson is 10th, and still 1 out of the top 10. That streak could end. It is Austin Beers back in the 11th position.
And Beers closing in on Teddy Hodgson, wanting to keep that top 10 streak alive. He is in traffic as Ripkema in the 2nd spot, trying to thread the needle through traffic. Goodale, Williams, and Hartwig tightly bunched from 3rd on back. Jonathan McKennedy continues the lead on an easy Saturday evening cruise right now, coming to 3 laps to go for Jonathan McKennedy.
Teddy Hodgson has just moved into the top 9. John Michael Chenette drops back to 10th, and Austin Beers is still in the 11th position. Heavy traffic, but up front, Jonathan McKennedy. This time coming back to the stripe. Less than 2 circuits to go as they work their way back off turn 4.
McKennedy in turn number 2. Large gap, about the entire length of the back straightaway. Back to Tyler Ripkema. He enters turn number 3, about to put Matt Hirschman another lap down. White flag is out. 1 lap to go. Jonathan McKennedy looking for the win in the Allstate Materials Group 150 at Oxford.
There's no question about it. He led the majority of the laps. He was the fastest car in practice. But the record books will show today's event. Now into the record books for the running here at Oxford Plains, and John McKennedy has taken down the impressive victory. Amazing run for Tyler Ripkema to finish in 2nd. Eric Goodale will finish in 3rd. Ronnie Williams to round out the top 4, and the youngster, Paulie Hartwig, will finish in 5.
4th career win for Jonathan McKennedy. A dominant evening here on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Started earlier in practice, up front in both sessions, and leads by far the most laps to win here tonight. 2nd win of the season 4th of his career for the 38-year-old from Chelmsford, Massachusetts.
Sure did, and he took the lead on lap number 9 and never looked back. Tyler Ripken will finish impressively in second. A good comeback from an unbelievable wild night at Riverhead Raceway. And what about Goodale? He has shown that he can get the job done. Started 6th, but was 3rd throughout the majority of the event. Then Ronnie Williams would finish in the 4th spot. Williams started 16th in the field of 18th. And then Paulie Hartwig with the number 73 car would start back in 13th. What about the story of Austin Beers?
He will miss the top 10 for the first time in over 2 years, finishing in the 11th position. So that streak of consecutive top 10 finishes for Austin will end at 35 races, missing it by 1 spot, finishing in 11th. We'll bring you back through the rest of the finishing order as we get set for Victory Lane ceremonies. Michael Christopher Jr. will finish in 12th. And the first car off of the lead lap, Tommy Catalano, Stephen Kopsick in 14th, Anthony Nocella in 15th.
16th position, Matt Hirschman, a disappointing day for him. 17th spot was Ken Heggie, and Tyler Catalano will be rounding out the top 18 positions. There were 2 cautions of the event. Lap number 20 for a minor spin with a 54, and lap number 43, an air cleaner came off. Austin Beers, something as simple as a wing nut and a piece of threaded rod changed that, well, impressive run that he has had among the top 10.
Just over a 100-lap green flag run to end this one here tonight. That finds Jonathan McKennedy in Victory Lane for the 2nd time this season. We'll go hear from him trackside in just a moment, along with the rest of our top 5 finishers here on our return trip to Oxford Plains. First time since 1991. Old Blue finished 2nd tonight and finished 2nd in 1991 as well, with Doug Hevron behind the wheel.
And that's the old girl, so you can't teach an old dog new tricks, they say, but we just witnessed all of that. Congratulations, and we want to thank the Mayberry family of Tom Mayberry and his son Mike Mayberry for the All States Material Group 150. They're a company based, their offices out of Massachusetts, and now in the great state of Maine.
Window net down. Whelen Victory Lane signage in position. And he is set to climb out here in just a moment down trackside for our race winner, Jonathan McKennedy.
John McKennedy climbing out of the car. A dominating victory in the All States Material Group 150 here at the Oxford Plains Speedway. John McKennedy was the favorite according to many people here at this racetrack with all the experience he has, and he showed it tonight. Didn't take long for him to go from 4th to 1st. John, come over here. Let's talk about that race. Tyler Ripken was going to come over and congratulate John. You were pretty confident about the car during practice despite any obstacle that came your way. How do you describe that run we just saw tonight?
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I even said on the radio at the end of the race that might have been the most dominant performance they've seen in a long time with the series. But at the end of the day, though, I got a good group of guys behind me. They stick with it. A lot of work and preparation went into this deal for this race. And the car, just honestly, was awesome. After like lap 80, I was actually hoping the race just went. I didn't want to have a pit stop and take the chance of, putting on tires, because sometimes the cars are just different and there's a lot of variables. So I was content with the race going. The car was just absolutely awesome. It really was. All day it was a rocket ship. What can I say? It's great to be back here at Oxford. I enjoy racing here, and thanks to Tom Mayberry, everyone with NASCAR putting this event on. Awesome.
Is there any other time you can remember driving a car like that in your racing career, no matter what car you've raced?
It's been a while. Like I said, this thing was just dominant, fast all day. I mean, we had like 2/10 on the field, it seemed like, but, we definitely had a little advantage. I've raced here a bunch over the years, and a lot of these guys never seen the place, and it's a very line-sensitive track. There's no markings out there. It's wide. Your perception is challenging here as far as lift points, and so definitely laps here and experience definitely helped. So that all paid off.
All right, we got one more thing that needs to be done. It's the American Racer tire draw to see which team will win a free set of American Racer tires as we head to White Mountain Motorsports Park in a couple weeks. What position is it?
Number 15.
The 15th place finisher gets a free set of American Racer tires. That's Anthony Nocello. So John celebrates his 4th career NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour win, taking home the All-States Material Group 150 at Oxford Plains, Kyle.
Dominant fashion here.
Yes, it's
no doubt. Didn't lead the first 8 laps, but once he found the front of the field, he was able to pull away and claim the win here tonight. You mentioned all the laps that he's had here, super modified,
amazing runs,
other modified tours.
Yep, and he's done it all. He's taken championships from this racetrack, the hardware, the money, and all of that, and congratulations going out to a very deserving individual. See those people in the back of the race car there? He couldn't do it without all those people and what they've done and accomplished for him and with him. There's no question. A few years ago when this guy won a super modified title again, and he won a modified title in some of the other support series, we were all amazed. And he is back in winning form, being congratulated by the good folks from All States Material Group in the winner's circle here at Oxford Plains Speedway.
Second win of the season for the former champion, 2022 Whelen Modified Tour champ. Picked up a Modified Racing Series win here, as he put it in our pre-race interview way back in the day. Finished, he won the 2009 running of that race, also a couple of super modified wins here. Going to be a couple of weeks off for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour teams, and then we're back in action. 2 weeks.
At one of my favorite stops, Kyle, White Mountain Motorsports Park. Of course, Chris Michaud and his family opening up the floodgates on June 20th. Seacock Speedway, round number 2 there, and another racing first at Claremont Motorsports Park on July 10th. Monadnock Speedway, one of the best short track bullring stops of the series, is back on July 25th, and one of your favorites coming up in the month of August.
August 22nd at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. As we go back down to the front straightaway, hear from some of today's top finishers, including a driver that really wanted a big turnaround after a rough ride a week ago. Finishing second is Tyler Ripkema.
Earlier today, we woke him up for an interview. He was feeling under the weather, but sometimes race car drivers just know how to overcome not feeling well. I'm not sure how physically you are, but what does it mean for you and the team to bounce back and finish second, your 3rd podium of the year?
Yeah, we really needed that. Had 2 really bad races in a row, obviously the wreck at Riverhead, and then getting into the wall at Seaconk and essentially ending my night there on my own. As soon as we crossed the checkered flag, I'm like, thank God we needed that, get some momentum going again for us, get some good points day, even though there wasn't a ton of cars here. But no, I mean, never seen this place before today, and it was a fun little track, and it was a lot racier than I thought it was going to be. Earlier today, just sliding all over the place, and tonight the place really tightened up and gained a lot of bite.
Tyler Ripkema, a big second-place run, taking Old Blue back to the podium for the 3rd time this season. Now we're going to make our way to our 3rd-place finisher, Eric Goodale, another driver who really needed a good run this season. You were pretty happy with the car earlier today, but man, in the long run, how did this car come alive so well?
Yeah, my spotter, Jake, really talking me down on the radio about overdriving and just backing up my entry. Just save on that right rear all day. And, lap 100, he was like, start to pick it up a little bit. We started to just encroach on the top 4 there, and got past Ronnie, and I ran down the 3, and I thought I was going to get him. Lap traffic got a little hairy there at the end. But, to come all the way up here, and it's a long weekend, to come home 3rd, that's a good thing.
Confidence booster for you and the team is very important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And now I can hopefully have a nice ride home with my son so he doesn't talk too much trash.
We were talking earlier about how his son, who's had success this year, would be his harshest critic, but not too much to criticize for Eric Goodale. He finishes 3rd tonight. We'll now make our way to Ronnie Williams. He and the Adam Scaveri team having one of their best runs in the Modified Tour, finishing 4th. You were up there battling within the top 5 all night. What more did you need at the end of the race to stay in touch with Goodale and Ripkema?
Yeah, just around that lap 100 mark, I couldn't turn as well as I needed to. So, but again, overall, good run. I haven't had the best of luck on the tour at all anytime I've run here. So, start off with the top 5. Left rear didn't come off, so it's a good day.
Ronnie Williams coming off a tough run at Thompson about a month ago. He mentioned the left rear wheel came off the car, didn't finish the race. He finished this one in the top 5. And then how about this guy, the young rookie, 15-year-old Paulie Hartwig III with his best finish in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, a 5th place run. The theme this season being fast in practice, tough times in qualifying, trying to finish all the laps. You did all of that tonight. How huge is it for you, your dad, and the team to get a top 5 this quickly in the Modified Tour?
Yeah, coming from 13th and only having like 3 or 2 cautions, and it's awesome finishing in the top 5 with the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. So we had a really good long run speed. I feel like we had 3rd or 2nd. Just those lap cars, I know they raced us a lot, and I'm super happy. We gained a lot of points today, so I guess we'll keep going.
Looking ahead to the rest of the season, what does that do for your confidence as a driver, being as young as you are and with all these veterans, that you can compete with these guys, the best modified drivers in the country?
Yeah, last week we were about to just be done with it, but this team never gives up, and we're going to keep going. And I just got to thank everybody that helps me, my dad, my mom, Maji, Bobby, Little Wayne, JC, professional therapist, Jersey Shore Contracting, Morgan Race Engines, LBI Pest Control, Velocita, LaJoy Seats. Just everybody helps, and all these fans are coming out, and it was an awesome race.
A very well done race by Paulie Hartwig III. His best career finish, 5th spot in the All-States Material 150 at Oxford Plains Speedway, dominated by John McKennedy. Kyle, Ben, let's bring it home.
First top 5 finish and just his 5th start for Paulie Hartwig here this evening.
Certainly is. And there's the big dog today, and what an amazing job he did. Best car he said he's ever had, and what a program that we just witnessed. We overcome the diversity of weather. We overcome a lot of different things, but one thing for sure, that we know the Whelen Modified Tour is a proud addition to the great state of Maine.
Indeed it was. Great event here tonight. We'll talk to you again in 2 weeks' time, June 20th at White Mountain Motorsports Park. Delayed a little bit because of Mother Nature earlier this evening. A great race at the front early when Steven Kopsik led the field to the green flag. Relatively clean race with just 2 caution flags, and at the end, Jonathan McKennedy picking up his 2nd win of the 2026 season here tonight at Oxford Plains Speedway in the All-State Materials Group 150. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks' time, congratulating Jonathan McKennedy on picking up his 2nd win of the 2026 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour season.
Victory in the All-States Material Group 150.